right. Hello. Thank you all for turning out. It's nice to see so much desperation for customer data that you've chosen to join us during what is lunch hour together. I'm really excited to have this opportunity to, in a moment, welcome up Dan Chasle, who will also join me to take you all through the journey of how NewLook used AI to uncover millions of high-value customers. But first, I want to set the scene. So I want us to all imagine the promise of AI for retail, which imagine you go into a store and imagine in that store that every interaction a customer could have is personalized, exactly as you can imagine. Your mobile app, along with displayers, along with the dressing room, and of course the staff in the store are joining you as a consumer almost as if a digital stylist would join someone if they were a real human. That's the promise. But to be able to do that, we have to know you, the consumer. And it turns out that this is a very difficult challenge to solve. Why? Because of the amount of data explosion that's happened in the marketplace, right? So first we had the e-commerce revolution and digital transformations, which created, just in the past 5 years alone, an explosion of customer data that now needs to be merged together. And now AI, ironically, which promises to improve customer experiences, is actually generating even more data that now needs to be wrangled. We went out and we ran a survey to 1,000 leaders across the industry, running data programs at large enterprises to ask them about their state of adoption of AI, what's working and what's getting in their way. We certainly saw optimism, and I think, of course, at this conference, we see the amount of optimism around AI and explosion of solutions. So we saw almost half of brands are now in a place where there is frequent use of some type of AI within their organizations. But alongside that, we saw kind of a big aha, which is that there's a data readiness issue as an industry that we're all going to have to go and tackle. So actually, surprisingly, I thought this number would have been a little higher. Almost 80% of the leaders that we surveyed said that they were not highly confident in the quality of their customer data to be able to fulfill the kinds of AI use cases that they have on their roadmaps. And specifically, these data quality issues were then attributed to a number of key issues inside of the organization. When data quality suffers, it drives higher IT costs, it drives an increased risk of human error, and it certainly delays decision-making and speed as an industry. But of course, now most of all, when we ask these leaders about barriers to AI adoption, 2 of the top 3 drivers getting in the way of businesses being able to accelerate an AI roadmap are related to data quality and to data integration, to be able to move it to the places that it needs to be to facilitate the customer experience. And then when we dug into the data, what we saw was that all of that frequent AI usage inside of enterprise retail brands was very focused on the back office. So a lot of supply chain reporting, finance use cases. But when we asked about customer-facing applications that a consumer would really experience, what we saw was that less than half of businesses have adopted any customer-facing application of AI today. And so there was this really clear direct connect between data readiness, slowing businesses down from having the confidence to be able to put AI, and especially agentic AI experiences, in front of their consumers. We saw another interesting paradox, which was that everyone is rushing towards AI and thinking immediately about the end consumer use cases, but we saw very few businesses thinking about using AI to actually clean up the consumer data itself. And at the same time, this is a solvable problem. And so this is what Amperity has come into the market to do. We took a look at the customer data problem, which if there are those of you that are solving for the problem of organizing customer data as a business, you know it's a very difficult problem to solve. It is difficult to wrangle and connect data that is messy and that is consistently changing and growing. And it is super difficult to think about how you then create stability on that data and then integrate it into the enterprise. We have brought into the market a set of AI and ML algorithms that are now patented and create a new way for businesses to be able to use AI at accelerating solving for the data quality problem, to have the data foundation brands require in order to make progress on their AI roadmaps. And so Amperity is the AI-powered CDP built for identity and activation. there are 4 key things to know about what a product like this can do for a business, and then we'll bring up, of course, NewLook to share a bit more about how they've leveraged this inside of their larger architecture. Amperity allows you to automate identity resolution, to build data assets quickly, and then to sync that data across any tool. And it does this in a composable architecture. So as businesses accelerate their motion towards a lakehouse architecture, whether you are leveraging GCP, Snowflake, Databricks, or other platforms, the question then becomes, how do we make sure that we can go run data hygiene processes inside of those lakehouses where the data lives? Right, so it's important to have a composable solution. The businesses that we work with are global, and certainly here in the UK, we work with brands like Dr. Martens and Virgin Atlantic, along with TUI. And what we've heard from these businesses after deploying Amperity AI is a couple of things. Before I tell you the results, I think what's really important is that everyone is seeing that fixing data quality is directly connected to driving better business outcomes. So it's not data quality for data quality's sake. It improves GDPR compliance because the data is more accurate. And so for brands that care tremendously about protecting consumer data, having a better quality data solution is important. And there's no loss of control because human stays in the loop across all of the workflows that are available. But that said, we've heard from businesses 90% improvement on time to build and then time to maintain on tasks required a customer 360. We have heard from brands an average of about 25% data quality improvements, and specifically, many of those improvements are centered on the customers that are most valuable to a business because they have the most data, because they interact with the brands the most. And finally, we've heard from businesses that even within year one, they're driving a 5x ROI in business return on spend, that is more than offsetting the cost of running this AI hygiene process. But sort of most excitingly is that, I'm a bit stuck, there we go. Most excitingly on top of those business results is that what we heard from leaders across the industry was that brands that have invested in a customer data platform, and especially when that customer data platform solves for customer identity, they are experiencing their ability as a company to adopt AI faster. And so we saw a 3x AI adoption rate in customer-facing applications, whether that is driving personalization online, whether that is driving experiences in store, compared to businesses that had not gone through the process of implementing a customer data platform and solving for a customer data foundation. What I'd love to do now is I'd love to bring up Dan Chasle, who is the Chief Data Officer of NewLook, to take everyone through the story of how NewLook has leveraged a technology like Amperity inside of a larger transformation roadmap and to share that experience. Yeah.
Can everyone hear me? Yeah, there we go. Right, pleasure to be here. So, yes, I'm Dan Chasle. I'm the CDO for NewLook. Full transparency, I'm actually seconded from Accenture, who's one of the transformation partners for NewLook. And it's been almost 2 years now, my role in CDO, but I've been with NewLook since the very beginning of their data transformation journey. So what I'm going to do is, firstly, explain who NewLook is, and we are on the right slide now. So probably because some of you aren't our target demographic, just to make sure everyone knows who we are. We are a leading fashion retailer in the UK. We were founded in 1969. We obviously at that point were exclusively on the high street. We are now an omni-channel retailer with a kind of mature e-commerce presence, but we still have an extensive store estate with over 300 stores across the UK. We are top 3 for women's affordable fashion in the 18 to 45 category, but we have smaller categories in men's and in the kids range. We can't see the timer. We, in addition to selling across our own channels, we also sell across Zalando, ASOS, and Very, which allows us to have a global reach. And we've just launched a loyalty scheme, which allows us to offer kind of an elevated experience for our most loyal customers, but also giving them early access to product. So that's who we are. What I'm going to take you through now is the journey, the transformation journey that we've been on, and how that's led us eventually to implementing Amperity and really building that customer foundation that Matthew's talked about. So back in I think it was December 2022, so it's a little while now, we established the data strategy for NewLook. And the vision that we determined and we came up and we sold to the business that we were going to blend the art of fashion retail with the science of data and AI. And what that really meant was respecting that we, as a business, understood fashion, we understood product, but we needed to empower our colleagues to make better decisions faster with the science of data and AI and make them with more confidence. And so at the heart of that was also being much more customer-centric in the way in which we made our decisions. That means better understanding of our customer behaviors, their preferences, the market in which they operate, how our customers are being co-opted by our competitors, and using that information to drive better decision-making across an integrated value chain. What does that mean practically? So if I think about it from the plan stage, better understanding of our customers' preferences in terms of the product that they want to see shapes our season strategy. What the customers have returned and how they've engaged with the product that's gone through the last seasons informs the design and the buying and the quantities of product we buy for the next season. How we allocate our product across our store estate, across our e-commerce platform, is all based on where our customers want to buy. That's localizing our range, that's our distribution. Marketing is probably more easy to understand, personalizing the engagement for our customers, so that we talk to them with the right tone, with the right messaging, with the right cadence. And then obviously selling and the sell channel and the aftercare channel. How do we personalize those experiences, the way Matthew talked about, to really engage the customers with an elevated experience and treat them like trusted customers, or valued customers in the aftercare where they've had a problem. We had a bold vision, but we recognized at the time we didn't have the technology foundations to make that a reality. We had a legacy IBM DB2 data warehouse. We had self-service access to that data that was being taken off into Excel and used in siloed decisions across that value chain. And so we started on the transformation, starting firstly with the modernization of the technology estate. So we migrated away from IBM DB2 to a modern data platform running on Azure with Databricks. Databricks was the obvious choice at the time and still is a phenomenal choice for us in terms of the backbone of our data landscape. That program took us about 18 months to achieve, and we did a very, very fast, for a large-scale data warehouse migration. We've got some people in the audience who helped us with that journey. That gave us the backbone and gave us the foundation, and we went live with that about May last year. As soon as we went live with that data platform, we then springboarded into delivering use cases and driving value for the business. We had some fairly high priority areas to focus on. So we tackled our supply chain visibility. We needed to see the product coming into our business. We needed to be able to distribute that to our stores and maximize the opportunity with the product we'd already bought. And so we focused on supply chain visibility, alerting, and product allocations. And that meant that we could have full transparency from everything at the beginning of the commitment path, the critical path for BMD, product going into manufacturing, out of manufacturing into the supply chain, all the way through to the distribution center, and then how we allocated that to stores. The allocation work we did allowed us with the data platform to run analytics and a grading at a much lower level of granularity that now allows us to send product to stores, maximizing the demand for that store. The net result of those use cases allowed us to reduce our working capital by about 27 million without impacting sales or gross profit. We're turning cover on average 3 weeks faster, and if you know anything about retail, that's quite a substantial change. In parallel to delivering those use cases, we recognized that we couldn't deliver everything centrally. It just isn't possible. A single core team delivering use cases won't have the value or the transformative impact that we want. So we also rolled out a data literacy and enablement program. So our DAVE program, Data Advocates, Visualization Enthusiasts, is run by a team of people that go around the business and create and deliver that training and enablement. We have advocates now in every part of the business who are themselves being enabled and getting upskilled and then helping us train everybody in those departments. So our our end goal is to have an organization that is more enabled and more able to leverage the solutions that we're rolling out, whilst also building some of the insight that they need for themselves in their day-to-day. We're now on to the next phase of our transformation. So we've talked about needing to be customer-centric, and that's where we then look back and said, right, we have that challenge that Matthew described with our customer data. It is fragmented. We don't treat the customer as we understand them as a one customer. We treat them as their operational profiles. If you have multiple email addresses and you shop with us, we will treat you as 3 individual people. And that is just a simple function of retail being messy. So we needed to do something, and that's where Amperity came in. So being a Databricks-enabled data retailer, Amperity was the obvious choice. Amperity has and is Databricks backed, and our ability to delta share data between our Databricks platform and Amperity just meant that we could add Amperity into our estate as a seamless extension of our data platform. And I always talk about the anecdote. So at the beginning of this year, we started that journey. In January, we did a trial with Amperity. We signed the trial on the Monday afternoon. By the end of that day, we had already configured the integration with Amperity. By the following morning, we'd ingested more than 100 million records and data sets into Amperity. By the Wednesday of that week, we had our first version of Stitch, and by the Thursday of the week after, we were sat in front of C-suite telling them exactly what we now understood about our customer base. That speed and the quality of information that we got out gave us the confidence that we knew that this would accelerate our capability. So we then set on the journey to implement, which again was a 3-month, 90-day implementation to put Amperity into production. We now use Amperity for all of our customer analytics. Our new loyalty program, the uplift and the incrementality of that program is analyzed through the lens of our customers as described through Amperity. How we report our customer numbers and how we now move into paid media suppression and other use cases is all already now with Amperity at the heart of that solution. And what we're moving into now is the rest of that journey in terms of embedding that customer and doing what Matthew described in terms of rolling out AI use cases that really leverage that. And we'll talk a little bit about that now. So I want to bring the customer 360 to life a bit more because we can talk about it and it sounds a little bit intangible. But as you would expect, these are the data sets that we are now pulling together and have pulled together in a unified profile. And you can see with the color scales what's live already and what we're doing in the near term and what's coming in terms of the color scale, black, pink, and then light gray. The data sets, if you look around it, we have all of our CRM engagement data. So the email sends, the open rates, when you open, how frequently you open, what communications we've sent you, how you've engaged with that, how we've sent you push notifications through the app, how we've engaged you with, well, how you've engaged with our website, your browsing behavior, what wish lists have you put in, all of that's integrated. At the core is our transaction history. So how you've shopped across our e-commerce platform, our retail estate, how that allows us to capture digital receipts from you at store, how every time you've purchased, we've captured a credit card token. It now allows us to, where you shopped anonymously, link that transaction into your profile. Through this process, we have a massively increased understanding of the transaction base into known customer as a result of the program. We have our returns data that tells us what you've returned, how you've returned it, which is going to tell us, are you a high returner? Are you a fast returner? What products do you typically return compared to others? We've obviously got our product preferences and your consent flowing in to allow us to then leverage and utilize this data. We are just about to put in our survey data from Medallia that will allow us to understand your CSAT score and synthesize your feedback responses into an understanding of how you perceive us. As I said, we've rolled out loyalty, so we now have your loyalty membership integrated into this, so we can understand who our customers are loyalty, so that we can target those that aren't, where we do lookalike matching. And then the last thing that we're going to do is add in our customer care data, which allows us then to understand how you've engaged us with issues that you've had, whether it be returns, whether it be refunds, whether we need to put a flag against you to say that you've had a bad experience, and we can now elevate and try and rectify that in the next engagement with you. That flows through to our understanding of you now. And this is Phoebe. Phoebe is a fictitious customer, as you'd imagine, but she typifies what we try and understand about you. What's in black is what we already knew, but it isn't, because it's also what we now know better. So your identity profile, Phoebe could have had 3 different email addresses how she shopped with us. One for loyalty, one that she gave in a digital receipt, one that she signed up to a newsletter. Now we know Phoebe has all these email addresses. We know all of her mobile numbers that she's used with us. We know her delivery address. We know which ones are the ones to use to contact her now. But we also know more about her demographics. We know about her as a valued customer. Is she highly profitable? What's her full customer lifetime value? Before that would have been a fractured view of value. Now it is a consolidated view that tells me this person is a high value customer and we need to make sure we don't lose her. The segmentation propensity, RFM segmentation, every good retailer has an RFM segmentation. We've seen our customers shift as we've transitioned to these customer 360 profiles from having a mix and having more of a consolidation towards mid and high. Mission segmentation, our understanding of why you shop with us. This one's really important to me because this is also how we demonstrate the bi-directional interface between Amperity and our data platform. Because mission segmentation is something that we built as a model running on our side on the data platform using the customer 360 profiles without even needing to move the data out of Amperity. We can see it as if it's an extension of our data platform where we can run models to create new attributes and then we can inject them back into Amperity so they can be part of the audience segmentation that we use already to send paid media to Google, to TikTok, and to Meta. Behavioral engagement, your purchase frequency, as I said, the channel preferences, so we know how to engage you, all the way through to how you are considering us from an experience and a satisfaction, but then more so your product preferences. Amperity has already given us out of the box product propensity for our customer base down to our product categories and down to the next level down, which is our product profit blocks, which is quite a low granularity of product. So we can now use that already in our CRM engagement and in some of our personalization on site. Where we're moving now is to improve our product quality data in the same way we've just done with customer to then flesh out the rest of that granular understanding of the customer preferences against product. What sizes do you typically buy in what garments? What colors? What brands? What is the things do you typically buy on trend? Do you typically follow slower in terms of trend? Those types of things, that really granular understanding of you is where we're now going to double down on so we can personalize. And then how we're going to use that. This is essentially the kind of application of this back into our value chain. So from a marketing strategy perspective, where are we going to spend our money? How are we going to use this insight to invest in the channels? How does it tailor our marketing engagement? So as I said, we're already now using it in our paid media suppression to give us immediate cost to serve benefits. But we'll use it to engage with you on the right frequency, to send you emails on the day that we think you'll open it. Or if we think that you are a customer who needs to receive 4 emails to open the 5th one, we'll know that now and we'll be able to analyze that. All the way through to, do we need to tailor the discount or the campaign that we put in a CRM engagement to make sure that we get your attention? Or if we're going to run an engagement that has a campaign on a certain product set that has high returns, and we know you're a high returner, maybe we don't want you to be part of that campaign. All of that is now within how we're changing and embedding this into our CRM execution. All the way through to personalized experiences. So we've just released new search capability onto our site. We're going to start by enhancing that product search and bringing personalization to that to influence the categories that pop up more highly for you. Then we'll start doing proper product-based recommendations and substitutions where things are out of stock, specific to you, also tied to how you've navigated through the site and what that tells us about your mission. All the way through to probably the end goal, which is to have a conversational AI interface for you, so you can upload photos of the things that you like, that you're looking for, and have that search from our product base against your recommendations and serve you the right products for what you're looking for. And then rolling that all the way back into how we take that insight and put it back into our product strategy. So as we said, the way in which we build our ranges when we look at the next season, we will leverage the collective insight over our customer base to tell us what needs to be in that season, how we need to shape that mix, how we then need to take those products into design. What do we need to consider from design to make sure we design the product so that we reduce our returns rates, something that every retailer is struggling with today. All the way through to how we optimize our forecasting and our planning. And right now, we're embedding this into our returns forecasting. So how do we understand our customers and what they are likely to return, and then how fast are they likely to return it, so that we can create an operational forecast for our DC so they can understand on a day-to-day basis for the next 7 days what the volumes of returns are going to be, so they can balance between processing e-com orders and processing returns, all of which gives us more operational efficiency and flexibility as an organization. So that's everything that I wanted to cover today. This is how we've used Amperity to create this one version of the customer, to create that intelligence foundation. And this is how we plan to continue to leverage it into our business and our organization.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, excellent. Great. Well, just to wrap us up, I think one thing that you didn't say that was so obvious as we began to work together was that there was a culture of innovation and curiosity within the business associated with a very clear transformation mandate that I think also is pretty essential. So the willingness to run a pilot and to trial together something and then to run down with the board the mandate for change quickly alongside those results, I think really made for success here as well.
Yeah, I think we absolutely, I absolutely knew that this was the right choice, but I needed to prove it to the right people. And one of the benefits that NewLook has in the type of organization we are and the scale of organization is that we can make decisions quite quickly if we have that confidence. And so the partnership with Amperity has been absolutely instrumental in getting that confidence and allowing us to demonstrate to our C-suite and to our board that this fits in our composable architecture roadmap, how we want to move forward as an organization, and that we can turn it around quickly and demonstrate value. I think that's, we're early days in kind of the advanced uses of this, but we're already seeing incredible results from what we've done.
Yep. Well, thank you so much. I think 3 sort of big takeaways for me, I think for everyone here today. 1, AI can help us solve for building a better quality data foundation, and solving for data foundation directly ties to results. The second big takeaway is the power of lakehouse architecture and the investment together between co-locating data into a lakehouse like Databricks alongside application layer tools like Amperity can create speed across any enterprise initiative. And then the third is that the application of customer data when placed in the right part of the architecture is inclusive of marketing, but is full enterprise. And you've seen from Dan the ability to take data and transform an analytics suite, to transform supply chain, to transform the actual experience alongside marketing touchpoints, which of course is the best possible way that we could impact the full retail enterprise experience. I'm just going to click us forward one slide to 2 quick calls to action for everyone. If the topic of lakehouse architecture is interesting to you, we are running a session this afternoon at 2:40 to demystify the concept and how it applies to customer domain. And we'll have our field CTO, Caleb Benningfield, that'll be speaking there. We would love to see you. And certainly for your organization, if there is an interest in understanding how Amperity could help, we're at booth J61 and would love to see you, and certainly would love to offer you all the opportunity to run a similar data diagnostic to what we've done with NewLook. Thank you so much.
Okay.